Hey guys, what's up? This is Subtle Roy, a Diamond 5 NA player, and the season's ending. Everybody's trying to make that last push for gold to get that Morgana skin, and it looks pretty dope, honestly. I think it's worth it. I've been playing with a lot of my silver, bronze, gold friends, and it's really interesting to kind of get a feel for the habits of those elos, and I think one of the biggest ones I found is that in bronze, silver, and gold, people don't really know how to trade objectives. They don't know when to split and when to group, and I think part of why Platinum, Diamond, Master, Challenger players kind of breeze by these elos so easily is because they have such a firm grasp of when to trade objectives and when not to, and when to group with their team and when not to. So I'm just going to talk out a game I recently played with a friend of mine. So just so you can see, this was the game we played. I was the Ezreal, and I did the most damage out of anyone on either team despite being behind. So that's one thing. I was duoed with the Riven, and it was honestly looking like a loss for a really long time. We were laning against Lucian Nami, and I think there was a level 3 gank by the Kazakhs that really set us behind in lane. It's always hard bot lane when the enemy jungler pressures early on, because the effects of the pressure are felt for a really long time. So yeah, let's get to it. So basically, what happened was, let's say it was around 15, 20-ish minutes. Me, Ezreal, and Braum had been getting shoved into turret wave after wave after wave. I was still even in CS, but any second we were going to lose our turret or get dove, and at some point they got sick of us playing passively. They said, hey, jungler, come down, we're going to take their turret. So they kind of zoned us, their fizz came down, and I was forced to stand back. And this is another decision that higher elo players make. If they see that they're about to get dove, they back up off the turret. And it sounds simple, but in the heat of a game, most players wouldn't have the forethought to think, hey, there's no possible way that I am going to A, survive this dive, and B, be able to come out with a kill even if I do die. So I said, you know what, the turret's not worth it, I'm backing off. So I left the turret, and they take this turret. So the next 5 or so minutes are just me farming at my second tier turret, because I still can't deal with the amount of wave clear they have. I would just instantly get dumpstered. In fact, I think I died to the Lucian somewhere around here stupidly, but it ends up not impacting the game so much. So what is important is, at some point, the Lucian shoves a bottom. I'm forced to respond with my terrible Ezreal wave clear, and their jungler, their mid laner, their supports, and their AD carry all have a jolly old time. They go mid. So our mid laner was kind of on tilt. This Annie was complaining in Champ Select about how she won lane 3 times in a row, and 3 times her team just got dumpstered and she lost. So she's not having a good game. So when someone's tilting, they don't really make the best decisions, and she decides to stay mid. So when 4 people are coming to your lane with a wave, they are going to dive you. You are going to die. Unless you're playing maybe one of 3 champions that can just sit under turret like that and not die. Anivia, I guess. So she gets dove, instantly dies, and this turret is gone. So from there, my top laner, the person I'm duoed with, says, hey, I have to defend my second tier turret, which is a good call. So it draws down the enemy top laner as well. So at this point, that also pulls down my support and my jungler. And so 3 people are sitting here against 5 people sieging in on this second tier turret. And so at this point, I'm Ezreal. I just ulted mid to clear the wave. So as soon as I blow my ult, I have nothing to contribute to what's going on over here, because Ezreal has terrible wave clear. I didn't build for wave clear. I guess if you desperately need wave clear, you could build a static Shiv on Ezreal. I've seen it done. Sneaky from Cloud9 is really notorious for building static Shiv Ezreal, so it's definitely popular, and it's interesting because it procs off his Q, but for the sake of doing the most damage I possibly could from behind, I just built straight damage. I think I went something like Triforce into Infinity Edge into Last Whisper, so if any of you were wondering. So I know that I can't help what's going on here, and I know probably my team is going to die defending this turret because their top laner Sion was extremely tanky. So Sion ults in, he makes that loud grunting noise, someone gets knocked up, and at this point the Annie's already back. So knock up, Fizz ult, Nami ult to stop anyone from being able to stop the engage. Lucian's doing damage, Kha'Zix jumps in to finish people off, and everyone on my team wipes. So they get sent back to spawn, do not pass go, do not collect $200, and I'm bot. So this entire time that my team has been dying, I was just shoving up bot lane. So I'm sitting somewhere around here hitting this turret, and my entire team, except for the person I'm playing with, is raging at me. They're saying GG, this Ezreal doesn't group, we can't win this game because Ezreal sucks, and this is the kind of flack you get for not grouping sometimes, because players, when they die in game, get very upset, they get very salty. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, and they look to blame anyone but themselves. So I was the easiest target. They said GG this Ezreal, and I took it because I knew that they were going to complain. I knew that I couldn't do anything to help them, so take this turret, keep going, and at this point they're starting to get a little bit greedy. They're saying, you know what, guys, I think we can keep going. I think we can take this this mid turret. I think partially because they saw me splitting, and they thought to themselves, without an ADC they can't defend, but they were all chunked to half, and my team is all fully healed and ready to defend. So they're sitting here, and I'm sitting at about this turret, whacking away at it. And if you ever play a Triforce ADC and you're splitting, time your spell cast so every 2 seconds you get a Sheen proc. It's really important. It's the difference between getting 2 turrets and getting 1 turret. Like, it makes a huge difference in how much damage an ADC can deal to a turret. So I'm whacking this turret. These people are still pushing up, and their mid laner and jungler say, hey guys, you know what? This Ezreal is not going to stop. He might actually be able to take an inhib turret. So they send their Fizz and their jungler down to deal with me. I think the jungler gets there first, and I blow up their jungler pretty much instantly. So the jungler dies. Their mid laner kills me because Fizz is a stupid champion. So I end up dying. And the interesting thing that happened was, while their mid and jungle were chasing me, one of them down here got picked off. So what that allowed us to do is it first of all, it relieved pressure on the map, which was a really big deal, because prior to that we had no vision over this red side jungle. And so my team gets to push out, we get to ward our jungle, and we get to ward the Baron pit, which ends up being really important in a bit. Or at least it was important to me, because I try to do what I think is strategically right despite what my team is doing. And I think that's one of the biggest ways you can carry games, is even if your entire team is running through the jungle chasing someone, you could be doing the right thing. So that's kind of what happens in a moment. So everybody respawns, things kind of reset a bit, and everybody's mid again, because it's ARAM. And my top laner is getting CS. I think he actually ends the game with 324 CS. He always has the highest CS, which is ridiculous. And so what he does is he starts to shove up, because he wants to try and take this first turret. So he's getting really close to killing it, and that evokes a response from the enemy team. So they send the entire goon squad to conga line up towards dealing with the top laner. And I think he commits to fighting specifically with Sion, and when he realizes the rest of the team is coming, because I'm spam pinging him, literally, like spamming that everyone else is coming, he starts to run away, and the grand old chase is on. So everybody, so they're chasing him, and my team is kind of coming up to meet him, because it's the reactionary play. I think that people tend to play a reactionary style in lower elo. They don't really take the initiative so much as see something going on the map and then go to it. So what I chose to do was, I saw all this going on top lane, and I thought, oh cool, another opportunity for me to take turrets, because I'm still not strong, guys. I'm a little behind. I'm playing Ezreal against a team that has a fairly fed tank that is going to just sit in front of me and stop me from dealing damage. So I come to mid, I take this turret, I keep pushing up, they keep chasing my top laner, everybody meets it around this turret, they just keep chasing each other, keep chasing, and I get here, and I start to take out this turret, and I think at this point, kind of a light bulb goes off in their head when they say, guys, I really don't think that this Ezreal is going to let us just blindly chase his team around without taking objectives. So this is around the same time that my team stopped raging at me for splitting, because at this point I've taken 1, 2, 3, and almost 4 turrets. So this time they send the whole goon squad. They send absolutely everybody, and they rotate back mid. And I don't even die for this, guys. I think I leave through this side of the jungle because I know they'll be fanning out, and if I leave through mid, they can cut me off. Oh, sorry about that. I think I went back. Oh fuck, did it reset? Yeah, reset. Alright. Let's pretend it didn't reset. So, yeah. So what ends up happening is, I escaped scot-free. I took 2 turrets, off the back of them, rotating to 5-man chase my top laner for no reason. So, at this point, they're on full tilt mode. So what ends up happening is, they chase me through the jungle, and I'm Ezreal. I'm just tossing out Qs, I'm Eing away, they can't really catch me, they're getting more and more frustrated, and they get baited into a 5v5 when they really don't have the resources to do that. So we almost wiped them, essentially. I think we killed 4 of them, everyone except for Sion, because he's really tanky. And everyone makes the call to do Baron, which I think was the right call. So we all go, we take the Baron, and at this point, we have a sizable lead. We have as many turrets as them, we have Baron, we have a team that scales decently well into the late game, because we have the Warwick, and we also have Annie, who is actually fairly good at sieging, because at any point she can just knock down Tibbers and blow someone up. So the Warwick, Annie, Wombo combo, in combination with Riven, who's also a bit of an anti-assassin, it makes for a good dive team. And Braum is just great at dives. He's absolutely fantastic. So we shove up mid, and we take this inhib turret, and the Baron regen is really nice. Like, guys, if you ever have Baron, you don't have to dive. You can just sit there and regen, and the enemy team can't. So shove up mid every chance I get. I'm taking autos, and we get their inhib, and a lot of the times in lower elo, people will try to fight over this inhib after the tower went down. You're supposed to fight when the tower is up. When the tower is down, you have no power. You're literally fighting in open ground. But they kind of made the worst decision. They chose to fight here after we took the turret, and we just steamrolled them. It was an absolute dumpster. So because I took all those turrets, we were able to make the quick rotation down bottom and take that inhib turret and that inhib. So at this point, we have a huge lead. We have 2 inhibs. We're up in gold, and the game is essentially a done deal. It was just a matter of rotating it out and closing out the game. But yeah, so we would not have been able to take those inhibs had it not been for me killing the turrets in those lanes and creating side lane pressure so that their team would be forced into a disadvantageous 5v5. And I think those are two really important points that are hard to kind of figure out if you don't have a lot of experience strategically. So what I did was I made this little flowchart, and forgive me guys, it's not perfect, but it's essentially the ground case for whether or not you should group or split. So the first question is, can you 5v5 the enemy team? If the answer is yes, group. It's that simple. I mean, if you want to close out a game when you're ahead, group. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, guys. But in the event that you can't 5v5, you need to think about what your champion has to offer against the enemy team trying to take your turrets. So, do you have wave clear? If you don't have wave clear, most of the time, you sitting under that turret isn't going to stop them from taking the turret. So if you're playing, for example, Vayne, if you're playing Ezreal, if you're playing any champion that has subpar wave clear or that is melee and has to come right up to the wave in order to clear it, generally you're just better off splitting. Melee champions, even if they have good wave clear, as soon as they go up to hit the wave, they get chunked by everyone on the enemy team, or they get engaged on. So in those scenarios, like for example when I was Ezreal, I had no wave clear, my ult was down, I split. So even if you do have wave clear, can they dive you? This is an important question to ask. Just because you have a turret and you have wave clear, it does not mean you are invincible. They can dive you. Turrets don't deal enough damage to one-shot someone. If they can dive you, and they can dive you safely, like they have either a solid tank or a fed bruiser who can survive the dive, or they're just healthier than you from poking you out, then either back off the turret if you're already there or split. And if they can't dive you, group and defend the turret. Winning the game is not simply about being able to kill the enemy champions. You have to push into their base and end the game. You can't do that unless you take turrets. So if you can defend, group with your team, sit under the turrets, wave clear. Part of the reason Ziggs was so popular for a long time was because he could just sit way back, so that way you couldn't even dive him. Ult a wave and it would instantly get cleared. And that kind of stalling out tactic would really screw up a lot of team comps. So it is a viable thing to do. I know a lot of people in bronze, silver don't really know how to siege and prefer to dive, but in the event that you're stuck against a siege, you need to understand what you're committing to just by showing up to defend against the siege. So hopefully this chart gave you a bit of a better idea of how to deal with your team, because your team is going to rage at you no matter what. They're going to rage if you group, they're going to rage if you split. If your team is losing, they're going to rage at you. If your team is winning, they're probably going to rage at you. No matter what happens, people are going to rage at you when you play League of Legends. So you need to think very clearly so that way you can make the decisions that will ultimately win the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first lecture. Hopefully it's one of many, and see y'all next time.